Yo guys, what's up? Gimsor here. I'm redoing this guide because I made a couple changes and I realized there were several mistakes in my other Monk Sunwuko LTK guide. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go over this new guide and then we are going to go through the play style and show you what happens here. So like I mentioned, this is your Sunwuko LTK Speed Farming T13 Monk. This is great for doing riffs on T13 for key farming, and you can also utilize this in bounty farming as well. But unfortunately, Demon Hunter is going to pretty much be the king of bounty farming this season. With that being said, let's kind of go over the gear here and what you're going to want. You're going to be wanting to run 5 pieces of Sunwuko, which will be your shoulders, gloves, chest, pants, and amulet. You will be wearing Gianna Nakashu for your helmet, Nemesis bracers for your bracers, a gold wrap for your belt, for rings, Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, and Ring of Royal Grandeur, or if you have a decent Avarice band, I recommend wearing it over Ring of Royal Grandeur because the rolls you can get on Ring of Royal Grandeur are kind of limited. Um, and then for your boots, you will wear River Dancers, and then weapons will be Ingeom and Vengeful Wind. As for the cube, I cube Scarbringer to get the maximum 600% damage out of it. Laws of Seth, this helps you with Spirit. And then for the jewelry slot, like I said, if you have a really crappy Avarice band, you can put it in here and wear a Ring of Grandeur. But Ring of Grandeur always rolls with attack speed, and so you're limited to one other stat that you can get, which like I have crit chance here. Whereas with Avarice Band, it would be like your, you see the intelligence here, you could have, instead of intelligence, crit chance, crit damage, and area damage, or cooldown, or anything. So you could actually roll 3 usable stats. Um, with that being said here, we'll kind of go over the build and why you're running these pieces. With the redesign to Sunwuko 6-piece, for every stack of Sweeping Wind you have, increases your damage by 1000%. That's why you utilize a Vengeful Wind here. As you can see here, the maximum stacks increase, the maximum you can have is 7. I think it's 5 to 7. So 7 plus initial stacks you get are 3, so that's 10 total if you have the maximum roll on your weapon. So that gives you a total of 10,000% weapon damage, or 10,000% damage for your lashing tail kick. River Dancers here increases your lashing tail kick damage and makes it attack faster. Same thing basically here with Gianna Nakashu. You're just getting a lashing tail kick damage. For these speeds, the secondary isn't really doing that much, which are the fireball that's being hurled. And then of course, Nemesis, you know what these do. These are for when you click on pylons or shrines, you spawn a champion pack. Gold wrap, this will be synergizing with your gem choice, and we'll go over that here in a little bit. But basically, you're going to be unkillable because you're going to be picking up a ton of gold. And as you see here on the secondary, on gold pickup, gain armor for 5 seconds equal to the amount picked up. You're going to be continually picking up gold throughout the whole entire rift. So basically, you're never going to take any damage. And then that's about it. I mean, you have Obsidian Ring here, which you can swap this out for a Stone of Jordan for more damage. But right now I'm currently running a total of 800 Paragon, and I'm not seeing any issues in needing more damage. And also this helps with your resources because you can get the cooldown on Blinding Flash quicker. With that being said, legendary gems that you'll run, which I need to get this, will be Goguk of Swiftness, a Bane of the Trapped, and Boon of the Hoarder. This is what I was mentioning earlier. So Boon of the Hoarder, when reaches max level 50, you have a 100% chance on killing an enemy to cause an explosion of gold. And then whenever you kill the enemy and you pick up gold, you gain 30% increased movement speed for 2 seconds. So you've got a lot of mobility here. And since you're picking up gold all the time, that synergizes with your belt, like I said earlier, and will basically make you indestructible. Next, here, let's go over the skills. This is one of the places where I made some mistakes before when I made my previous video. So Lashing Tail Kick here, we're going to go with Sweeping Armada. This is great because it deals a good deal amount of damage, and it has a 15-yard, basically AOE. So everything in 15 yards is basically gonna get one shot. Next here, you're going to run Sweeping Wind, Inner Storm. This is, of course, helping you for your stacks to help your Sunwuko damage, but also is helping you with Spirit as well. Blinding Flash, I'm running Replenishing Light, but you can also run Faith in the Light as well. Replenishing Light just increases your Spirit per enemy hit, and then Faith in the Light here increases the damage you deal to enemies that are hit by Blinding Flash. So these two are up for grabs. If you're having issues with Spirit, you can run Replenishing Light. If you're wanting some more damage and you're not having issues with Spirit, you could go ahead and run Faith in the Light here. Epiphany, only thing here that really is going to make any difference is Insight. So that's going to help your bonus Spirit regen. Other options would be like Desert Shroud, but since we don't really need any damage mitigation, since we're going to be stacking gold with gold wrap and basically be unkillable, I'm just taking a resource regeneration here, which you see increases bonus Spirit regeneration from Epiphany to 45. Dashing Strike, Way of the Falling Star. This is pure mobility, and with an Ingeum proc, you can dash indefinitely until that Ingeum proc is down. But with as fast as this build is, fast you're going to be going through the rift. There should never be a time that your Ingeum really drops and you're struggling. And also here at the same time, what Way of the Falling Star does is after you use Dashing Strike, you will gain movement speed increase for 4 seconds. Next here we have Mantra of Conviction, and we're running Annihilation. So this is a damage increase to enemies, and then enemies that you kill while they're under the effect of this, you will gain a 30% movement speed for 3 seconds here. Onto the passives, everything is going to be offensive, except for Beacon of the Utar, which is basically just a cooldown of all your skills. Since this is a very mobile build, we'll be utilizing momentum. As you see, you're moving 25 yards, increases your damage by 20% for 6 seconds. This will basically always be up. Seize the initiative here. Attack speed is great, and also at the same time, not only in terms of damage, but attack speed is helping your mobility with your Dashing Strike. And last but not least, Relentless Assault, you deal 20% more damage to enemies that are blind, frozen, or stunned. Since you have Blinding Flash, you are stunning, so you'll be dealing 20% more damage to those enemies. Last but not least here, let's go over the stat priority on your gear. Shoulders, you would ideally want Dex, Vite, cooldown, and say area damage. Vitality isn't a huge issue early on, especially if you're running gold wrap, because you're basically not going to be taking any damage. So ideal things to look here for are going to be dexterity, cooldown, and I'd say area damage. Helmet, Dex, Vite, crit chance, and then of course, as you see there, increases lashing tail kick damage. You want to get that as close to 100% as possible. For amulet, ideal roll here is going to be physical skills, crit chance, or physical skills damage, crit chance, crit damage. For gloves, I like attack speed, crit, but you could run dex, crit, cooldown, dex, crit, area damage. Any of those are fine as long as you have crit chance, crit damage. Chest, it doesn't really matter here as long as you have as much dexterity as possible. Vitality is fine, and then whatever else. It really doesn't make a big difference once again because you're going to be basically immortal. For your bracers, you want physical skills, dex, vit, crit chance. For ring here, I've been experimenting with 2 different builds. So this obsidian ring here is a little different. It's set up for a different build. So ideally here you'd want attack speed, crit chance, cooldown. But there is another Sunwuko build for Death's Breath farming where I utilize a little bit more resource costs. So that's why I have attack speed, crit chance, resource costs. So any of those 3 is fine. Attack speed, crit chance, resource cost reduction, or attack speed, crit chance, cooldown reduction. As far as your Ring of Grandeur, as I mentioned earlier, you'll probably be running a Avarice Band in here just because the stats are going to be better. So damage range, crit chance, crit damage is fine here, or anything like that. As long as you have crit chance, the other 2 stats can be attack speed or crit damage. So you can basically, you got a lot of variety here that you can use. With your pants, once again, as long as you're getting as high a dexterity as possible, that's fine. The vitality and the armor are just, it's since you're running gold wrap, like I mentioned earlier, your survivability is going to be through the roof. River Dancers, ideal role here would be Dex Vite, and then focusing on getting lashing tail kick damage. And then, of course, the secondary, getting that as close to 300% as possible. For your weapons, percent damage, and then cooldown, but ideally cooldown is going to be your number one priority, and then getting higher damage on it. Same thing goes for Vengeful Wind, cooldown, and percent damage. And then if you get super, super high Paragon to where you don't need main stat, you could even roll off the dexterity here and have like 10% damage, cooldown, and attack speed, because that would help you with your mobility. But for simplicity's sake here, just focus on cooldown and then getting percent weapon damage. As far as the cube goes, if you get, say, a Primal Scarbringer, you could wear it and cube your Vengeful Wind or your Engiom, but it's going to be hard to get a Scarbringer that rolls well and then also rolls to the maximum 600. That's why I have it in here, because I'm pretty sure it rolls 450 to 600% lashing tail kick damage. So it's best to put this in here and get the full 600% out of it. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Walls of Seth here, Blinding Flash helps you with Spirit, and Avarice, we all know what that does. So basically, the way the build works, you will enter the Rift, and then as soon as you see an enemy, activate your Sweeping Wind here. And then as soon as you start attacking, you're going to start stacking this up, and it will stay at 10 basically the whole Rift, unless you go for a period of time without attacking something. If this ever falls off, make sure you reactivate it, because without it activated, you're going to be doing no damage. Other than that, it's keeping Blinding Flash up all the time, and same with Epiphany, because Epiphany, what's great with it is, since not only is it giving you that resource increase, but while you're in Epiphany, any enemy that you click on, you will dash to them. Dashing Strike here, basically all this is pure mobility. As soon as you kill an elite pack, you're spamming this, and you're getting to your next elite pack as quick as possible and killing, basically one-shotting everything along the way. You'll never activate your mantra, it's just here for the passive. And then, real quick, just so you guys can see that I'm only running 800 Paragon, I got 200 here, 200 here, 200 here, so that's 600, 700, and then I have 100 points in dexterity for 800. So this build will wreck. I've tested it even lower, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to do it with 800 Paragon. So let's get into a Rift here, and we'll give you a preview of how it runs. So once again, Blinding Flash, Epiphany, keep those up. Get some enemies here, activate Sweeping Wind, get in here, deal some damage. I'm going to get one shot. This is the only time the build's squishy. Once you start killing enemies and gold is dropping, you're going to be unkillable. So we got our gold now. Let's get over here. Let's start going to town. Once we get our Engiom proc here, we'll be good to go and start spamming everywhere. And the good thing about your Boon of the Hoarder and Avarice Band, your pickup radius is always going to be maxed out at like 30 plus yards. So you don't have to stop and pick up progress globes. You don't have to stop and pick up anything. And the gold, as you see, is going to be picked up as well, swept up. So you have no issues whatsoever with staying alive. Like I said, the only time you're going to be squishy with this build is your first initial contact with an enemy. Especially the issue there was I had an elite and then I had a pool on the ground. And I have really low vitality right now, so that is the only issue there. As you can see here, once you get in the Rift, I'm picking up gold, I have 57 billion toughness. So the longer this goes on, you're not going to take any damage whatsoever. So if I can find the exit here, we will conclude this part of the guide and we will go on to the Death Breath farming variant. Right, got the exit here. So my gold wrap has fallen off. The gold, but as soon as you see something, you can kill them again and start stacking it, which is no biggie here. And we got pretty dead Rift here. So basically the build is going to be as fast as the Rift that you get. If you're getting a lot of elites and a lot of density, you're just going to smoke through the Rift. So basically you're going to be as fast as the amount of elites and regular minions that you have. Alright. So get here, kill the boss, easy peasy, nothing to it. Let's collect a little bit of loot here, and then we'll go back to town. We'll go over the Death's Breath variant here. All right. So the variant for Death's Breath farming, you will be utilizing 2 pieces of Sage, which the third set, as you can see there, increases Death's Breath drops by 1. Same thing, so it's going to be boots and helmet, and your boots here, you're going to want Dex Vite. Ideally, Dex Vite all res lashing tail kick damage, but anything Dex Vite lashing tail kick damage is fine. And then helmet, ideally you just want Dex Vite crit chance. You'll put that on. And then what we're going to do here, before we were wearing a diamond in our helmet, we're going to actually go ahead and put in a topaz here for some resource cost reduction. Now that we're not wearing River Dancers, which is 300% lashing tail kick damage and 50%, we're going to take Laws of Seth out of the cube and we're going to place River Dancers in here. Other than that, the build stays pretty much the same. One thing you can do here is you can swap Seize the Initiative or any of your other damaging passives here to Exalted Soul. So I'm going to go ahead and for the sake of this video, I'm just going to change. Let's see here. We'll change Merciless. So it doesn't really matter. Just one of these. If you run Exalted Soul, it's going to help you because with this setup, without having Laws of Seth in there, you're going to kind of struggle a little bit with Spirit. So I do anything here to help a little bit with Spirit. So resource cost reduction here, and then everything else stays the same. So let's go in here. We'll get another video here, another clear, and then we'll conclude the guide. So once again, same thing, plays just the same. You gotta activate your Sweeping Wind and your Epiphany. But same thing goes here. You're going to be picking up gold and Progress Glow is exactly the same. As you see here, Spirit can get a little tight at times. So you want to just make sure it's going to just be a little bit trickier than the other build, but you're going to be getting the extra DBs. But as you can see, it's still going to one-shot everything. And as long as you're keeping NGM up, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever with Spirit. It might be a little tough at times, but once you get used to the build, you're not going to have many issues at all. And if you're a veteran monk player, you're not going to really ever have any issues. But so as you can see, still 800 Paragon. We're missing Gianna Nakashu, which is up to 100% lashing tail kick damage. And as you can see here, it's not even needed. You're still just going to wreck everything in sight, even at 800 Paragon. So let's go ahead and get up here. Next level. Got a little squishy there simply because we hadn't killed any mobs and we had dropped our gold stack. But now we're back up. Kill a goblin here. Expending the Spirit. Ooh, look at that, 4 DBs. That's why this build is so good for DB farming. You're basically not going to have to worry about Dust Breath the entire season. So, I can't pick it up. Alright, so let's find us some elites hopefully, and we'll conclude the guide. It looks like we're probably going to have to make... Nope, there's an elite pack. So, thing with the yellow packs, as always, if you're new to the game, Engiom, if you kill a blue pack, it will always proc. Yellow pack, you have to kill the main yellow, and all of his minions. So if you're ever wondering why Engiom's not proccing, you're probably not killing all of the minions from a yellow pack. So, alright, as you see here, we made it to the RG. We're going to just go ahead and kill him. Damage isn't quite as good, but remember, we only have 800 Paragon and we're missing Gianna Nakashu. But other than that, guys, I mean, that's all there is to it. I'm going to go ahead and replace the other video that I had up. And I'm sorry about the mistakes I made in it, and sorry for the length of this. But I wanted to go ahead and get the corrections made and get both builds into the same video here. So that was Sages. The portion of the video before that was without Sages. Running both of them will be fine. I think Sages is going to be a little bit higher Paragon, but as you can see here, you can run it pretty much as low as you want and what you feel comfortable with. So with that being said, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment on YouTube, or if you're seeing this on Diablo Fans, post a comment on Diablo Fans. I will be streaming Season 12 at twitch.tv/GimsorGaming. If you don't know what the YouTube is, it's youtube.com/GameStoreGaming, and you could always check me out on twitter.com/GameStoreGaming. So until next video, guys, peace, and I hope you have a good time in Season 12.